Very well. Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to the people here in Milan and also those who are connected from remote areas. Today we will be talking about Italian sparkling wines made with indigenous varieties and international varieties. So I'd like to start with the presentations from the various companies and their wines. And we immediately move over to Marche, where we will taste sparkling wine made from Verdicchio, 70% of Verdicchio with Malvasia and 5% of Sangiovese vinified in white. So let's talk about Tenute Tavignano Estate. They have a line of spumante, sparkling wine, that is very special, called Monster. And I will show you the bottles later, and they interpret moods, faces, so very funny faces. And they are colorful, very young looking, and they are targeted to a very young public for various occasions. And let me show you, for instance, one of these bottles. Here it is. This is part of this range. So with the crown cap, and it's a Verdicchio with the residue that can also be agitated, and it changes its mood. So as you can see, it's a fun bottle, and with this design component. We have Giulia from Tenute Tavignano, and she will tell us more about this winery, this range, and this spumante that we are about to taste together. And I leave the floor to Giulia, who is going to describe her Verdicchio in this spumante version. So good evening, and I'd like to thank also our friends from Chicago. My name is Giulia, and I am the sales manager at Tenute Tavignano. Let me introduce the company very quickly. The Love Monsters line deserves a separate explanation. We are in Cingoli, in the province of Macerata, 15 minutes away from Iesi, in the Castelli di Iesi district and DOC district, and we mainly bake Verdicchio dei Castelli di Iesi in a very traditional style, only with stainless steel pans. And then we have this line of organic, very playful and young wines that is called I Love Monsters. And this was designed by Mrs. Ondine Della Feld, the current owner, in 2014. When she joined the company. So she comes from the world of design, and so she decided to introduce something fun. And then she also involved some design students to design these labels. And Giulia, by the way, I forgot to say that, but as you can judge from the nice T-shirt of Giulia, this bottle is called Pestifero, devilish, which is a bit witty, a bit like a devil. And yes, these are three products. Pestifero, Birba, and Vergine are the three protagonists, the three characters that interpret attitudes and moods and ways of being of these personalities and these characters. So Pestifero is a pet nut, a Pettia naturel, 70% Verdicchio, 15% Sangiovese, and 15% white Malvasia. And it's re-fermented, so bottle fermented, so we bottle before the end of fermentation, so that fermentation continues in the bottle up to 2 atmospheres, 2 bars. Then the bubbles are very delicate, not overpowering, and they are very pleasant. So these bubbles are very pleasant, and the 3 varieties contribute to this blend with something characteristic. Verdicchio is fruit, but also the green shade and the structure, good acidity, Sangiovese acidity, and Malvasia, sorry, aromatic typicity. And we don't filter the wine, we don't even disgorge the wine. So that's why we keep this crown cap, and which is slightly turbid because it has the residue inside. And so it's an unconventional product outside the box, thinking outside the box, that is targeted to consumers who want something innovative. Thank you, Julia. So as Julia was saying, this was served with the residue. And so it's bottle fermented, unfiltered. So if it's slightly cloudy, slightly turbid, it's not a defect. So we decided not to decant it, and we decided to serve it with the residue. And then let's take this nice goblet and let's see what Julia said in this verdicchio, which is a bit witty. So we can perceive very well this green note that Julia described. So this herbaceous note of verdicchio, but we also have some nice fruity notes as well, and citrusy notes. And with some hues or notes of white fruit, very crispy, unripened, and fresh. And then let's also now taste it and try to understand the texture of this wine. Then on the palate, actually, this is a wine that it gives us this impression of being a little always variable, always changing from when we take the first sip to when we swallow it. And it gives us this sense of a very delicate bubbles with these enrobing texture. And so there is some body coming from the residues. So more, and that makes this wine more full-bodied. And do you have any observations, any comments about this wine? Question about how many bottles they make. So let me repeat the question because you didn't use the microphone. So how many bottles do you make? The gentleman asked. And in addition to young people, so because this is targeted to young people, but is it also, let's say, approachable for other people? Well, first of all, this is a project that started some 7 years ago as an experiment. And as of now, we have 10,000 bottles, but growing because it's very successful, especially abroad. US, Canada, Japan, where, of course, consumers are more open to innovation. Whereas we Italians, we have more tradition, and so we are a bit more conservative. However, in any case, this is a product that also in Italy is gaining ground in a sort of patchy way, in the sense that there are some enotekas, so some wine bars and stores with the right customers who enjoy this, and there are so also consumers who want to have something special, not necessarily younger consumers, also because essentially this is a product that is very enjoyable, particular but very enjoyable. And so if so maybe customers may be a bit reluctant at the beginning, but in the end they enjoy it. The cost is 11 euros. That's our cost at the cellar, at the winery. Thank you. This is certainly an intriguing and product, and as you can see, there are two versions, so it can be turned upside down. So it keeps this image in both sides because it has this residue, and we can turn it upside down, and so the label follows this idea. So it's like a kind of ever-changing, surprising label. Thank you, Julia, and let's carry forward and move to Cobue, the Cobue winery in the lower part of Garda. We are in the municipality of Pozzolengo, and this is a nice story to tell because essentially this is a Blanc de Blanc, then from Chardonnay grapes. So we are tasting 2017, but disgorged recently, May 2021. And this is a spumante, which is a zero, that comes from a tradition of the family because of a special passion that they have, right, Gilberto? Please come forward and tell us more about your winery, your territory. And then this nice story that you told me that I'd like you to share with our friends here and in Chicago. So thank you. Good afternoon to everybody, our friends in Chicago. Sorry. And so thank you for joining us for this tasting. And also Stefania, because she's a great taster who is going to taste many wines this week. So we are in Lower Garda. We are a third generation winery. My grandfather started everything 50 years ago, and myself and my parents and my sister have been managing this winery for a few years now. And it's a nice story, as Stefania said, because my grandfather was very fond of French champagnes, and so planted a Chardonnay vineyard to make his own champagne. And we degorged in 1991, so 30 years ago, the first Metodo Classico that was yet brut, so with some dosage. Then tastes changed, so our palate has started to like wines that are less ample, less sweet, and so we started to make these dosaggio zero, so these pas dosé. And so this is due to the evolution of us as third generation of the family, and also recently there has been a lot of many more dosage zero. So it's a very clear-cut choice, very clear-cut style. So we are going to taste these. So it's not easy to manage this style. It's not for everybody. Yes, it's not, but with the Chardonnay, we know it's a soft, fine grapes. So if you are able, and we have a 30-year tradition to make a liqueur de tirage in a certain way, and also to disgorge in the right way, the bubbles are quite elegant and fine, and so the base can be great without adding sugar at disgorgement. As far as our winery is concerned, we make around 10,000 bottles, and between 50 and 20% is pas dosé. And in our area, so we are in between Franciacorta and Trento Doc. So in our area, this is not an area for spumante, but we sell our wine, and therefore this means that the market likes our bubbles. And this is not part of any DOC. It's just a VSQ, Vino Spumante di Qualità, so quality spumante wine. Very well, let's taste it after you shared this nice story. And as he said, so despite this is a pas dosé, which is disgorged, and there is no addition of sugar after disgorgement, thanks to the blend mainly and thanks to the style of the winery, this is a wine with a texture and a body that can lend themselves to different pairings and can be good for the various types of palates. And the nose is very recognizable as a Chardonnay in this Blanc de Blanc, where it's a true, genuine expression of the variety with nice citrusy floral notes. And also with a spicy vanilla note, if you agree, Gilberto. And how many months did we say? 36. 36 months on the yeasts. Very interesting on the nose. And also the color is very bright. So it's a golden yellow. And so we can taste it because I'm very curious to know it. So we have enrobing bubbles. I don't know if blindly I would say it's a pas dosé. I mean, you can tell there's little sugar, but it's not as angular and as excessive pas dosé. So it's similar to a brut or an extra brut. And then it's very interesting on the palate. And if you agree, this can be paired with various courses in a meal because the body is pretty full. And you could also pair it with meals, with a meal. So it is probably good with first courses like risotto. We are here in Milano, so a nice risotto alla Milanese could be a nice pairing. Do you agree? Yes, he confirms. I don't know if you do that because you are kind to me or if you truly agree with me. In any case, I always like to give this, to always suggest pairings and occasions when you can taste this wine. And certainly, this is a spumante that might give a lot of satisfaction when you age it. So I think it has a good aging potential. And so there could be also some tertiary notes. We have some primary and secondary notes, but this might become even more interesting at a later stage with a few more years of aging. So also this is truly a nice product. And thank you, Gilberto, for sharing it with us. Are there questions? Price, what's the price? 15 euros at the winery. Fine, very, very well. Let's now carry forward and let's now move from Chardonnay to Pinot Noir. We are now about to taste a Blanc de Noir, a metodo classico, which is a Piemonte DOC from Tenute Badia di Morrona that is located in Tuscany, but they have also 15 hectares under vine in Piedmont, in the province of Asti, where they make this metodo classico. And we should have connected with us someone from the winery. Is that right? There should be. Are you there? Yes, here he is. Here he is. Good evening. So for the Tenuta Badia di Morrona, actually it's called the Podere dei Bricchi Astigiani. Badia di Morrona is the main winery. Yes, that's what was I was about to say. So you are in Tuscany, but you have Bricchi Astigiani in Piedmont, in the area of Asti. Yes, and in the province of Asti, we have 15 hectares, and they're all with organic farming. So also the wine we are about to taste is from organic grapes. And this is not marked on the label, but these grapes are organic. And so our winery is a very historical winery because this is a winery where in Tuscany we started in 1930. And then in Piedmont, we started in 1999. And the estate is 15 hectares, so we own 15 hectares, and 10 are under vine, and 4 hectares are just a Pinot Noir for our Blanc de Noir, which is the one we are about to taste. Yes, correct. Great. Do you want to add anything about this wine? And also, do you want to tell us why the winery has decided to make this investment? I mean, is there a special passion for Piedmont, for Spumante wines? Well, this is because of the passion of the family, passion for wine, and in particular, well, of course, since the winery is in Tuscany, so we thought of having a new winery in Piedmont. And this new winery in Piedmont, well, we thought to, of course, grow indigenous varieties, first and foremost Barbera, and then Pinot Noir on the other side. And Barbera for still red wines, right? Yes, still red wines. We have 2 types of still red wines. But then for Blanc de Noir, we have 5,000 bottles a year of Pinot Noir, 100% vinified and 24 months on the yeast. So Pinot Noir, 100% Pinot Noir, 24 months aging. Let's now taste it. Thank you. Yes, please. So now. So here is our glass. So this is a Pinot Noir. So since the previous wine was a Chardonnay, we can contrast and compare these varieties. This is 100% Pinot Noir. That is a Chardonnay. And you will see that on the nose is very different. Because in this case, I also perceive a lot of bread crust notes or yeast notes. And we also have this golden color, this bright yellow color. And now let's taste it. And on the palate, there are these buttery notes of yogurt and vanilla, if you agree, or perhaps if you want to add something. As far as notes are concerned, tannins are present, and this is because it comes from red wine. And so it keeps releasing tannins, so despite it's vinified in white. And in particular the color, so please notice this slightly reddish vein due to the use of 100% Pinot Noir. Okay, very interesting observations that you can find in your glasses. This is spumante with a nice texture, nice full body. And also this one can be paired with various courses during. Yes, yes, I think it's perfect as an aperitif because it's not so intrusive like a 40 months or 56 months. However, so with these notes of Pinot Noir, these very strong notes of Pinot Noir, we can use it throughout the entire meal, in particular with fish. Okay, so you say in particular with fish. And it's a brut wine. Yes, 7-8 grams of sugar per liter. Okay, okay. Very well, thank you. This is a very interesting product. Are there questions? Any questions for Tenuta dei Bricchi Astigiani? What about the price? We sell it for 13.5 euros to private individuals and 9.50 in the Oreca business. Thank you very much for your presence and for the spumante you have shared with us. Thank you and see you soon. Very well. So up until now, if we recap, so we talked about Verdicchio, so bubbles with an indigenous variety. Then we made a comparison between 100% Chardonnay and Blanc de Blanc, and 100% Pinot Noir, then Blanc de Noir. Then a very interesting overview. Now we move towards another territory. And again, we go back to native grapes, native varieties. So now we go to Emilia-Romagna. And we are on the hills of Parma, south of the Po Plain. And we now talk about the Canova winery. Here is the picture from Chicago. And so let's now hear from from Tommaso, from the winery, who is going to tell us about the winery and their idea of wine. And then we have Manuela, still from the company, and she is going to tell us about these varieties from the technical point of view, and she will talk about the style. So we have a Blanc de One made with Ortrugo grapes, the native variety, Ortrugo, with a blend that Manuela will explain. And then we have a sparkling with Lambrusco. 3 varieties of Lambrusco, and she will describe later on the blend. And she will explain more about their choice and their style. First of all, I'd like to leave the floor to Tommaso, who is going to tell us more about his winery and territory. Thank you. Thank you to our friends in Chicago, and thanks to Confagricoltura. So Canova, my winery, was founded in 1982, thanks to my grandparents. And over the last 2 years, I am actually the CEO, and I started to work in the wine world. Actually, I am very young, and I'm 23, and I am at the end of, I'm studying something that is completely different, but I have a great passion for wine that is part of my family. And passion for the territory of Parma, right in the center of Food Valley. Our winery is at 350 meters above sea level. We have 8 hectares of vineyards with very nice exposure, with very good draining soil. And on the one side we have a river, a stream, and then in the area there are 5 natural lakes that make the soil perfect for our wine. And so our production is 80,000 bottles, or actually 60,000 plus some Lambrusco that this year we'll have you taste. It's our first year with Lambrusco because we decided to invest also on this variety. Yes, because so you work a lot on native grapes and native varieties in various versions, both sparkling and still. Yes, absolutely. We have 3 sparkling wines, 3 still wines and 2 spumante. The spumante we are about to taste, Blanc de Blanc Oberto. Then Manuela is here, will describe, but let me already tell you, it's Ortrugo 80% and Chardonnay 20%. Whereas Lambrusco is Lambrusco Salamino, because we know that there are 12 different types of Lambrusco. We've chosen Salamino, and according to our rule book, we have added 15% of our Barbera in our 20-year-old vineyards. And so our Lambrusco is very particular, and you will have a chance to taste it. So I think if we want to be a bit more technical, or do we want to taste? Well, it's up to you to decide. You are the boss. Well, I would like also Manuela to join us if you are done, or perhaps you can stay here right next to me for any questions. Thank you. So let's invite Manuela, who is the consultant for this winery, and she works on the style, on the choices, and she will talk about the style of these 2 wines. So you have already Oberto in the glass. The Lambrusco is being served now, and then we can taste them. So as Tommaso anticipated, this is a blend, so 80% Ortrugo and 20% Chardonnay. So this is a wine that so we keep it on fine lees, and then it stays from 13 to 15 degrees to protect its flavors. And it's a Martinotti method. So after 6 months on the lees, we have the Prise de Mousse with a sweet base made of Marsanne, which is another typical variety from Emilia. And so this mix, this blend, is intended to provide strength, persistence, flavors for this spumante that we want to be a fresh spumante, easy to drink, also with foam, bubbles, fine perlage, and it's fruity, and it's the expression of the territory, therefore using our grapes, which is typical from Emilia, because Ortrugo is typical from our area. Oh, that's an interesting choice. Yes, we wanted to do something different. So it's your signature, so it's your style. And so you have Ortrugo, 90%, with its characteristics and flavors. But the Prise de Mousse is done with Marsanne, that also gives these floral notes, aromatic notes, and has a nice sugar base, such that, yes, this has 10 grams per liter. 10 grams per liter as a sugar residue. And there is also a nice little addition of Chardonnay that gives a structure to this wine, because the goal of Manuela and the winery as a whole is to have a great balance on the palate and make sure that these wines are easy drinking wines, but with the signature of the territory. So territorial, but also international. Please also talk about Lambrusco that is being served. So there are different varieties of Lambrusco, and this is blended with other wines. 15% Barbera, and Barbera is used for acidity. Because we are talking about a soft wine. Please keep the microphone close to your mouth, otherwise nobody is going to hear you. So, and the Prise de Mousse is done with Bonarda. So again, from the area. So Prise de Mousse with Bonarda. So same as before, as Tommaso said, it's a new product, but with the same style of Alberto. So with the native grapes, so 3 varieties of Lambrusco, Prise de Mousse with the Bonarda. Always looking for a product that is floral, innovative, and with a good mix of acidity and sweetness to have a wine that is clean on the palate and that can be enjoyed by many different palates. Very well, let's enjoy, let's taste these wines. So these 2 products are deeply rooted in the local area, so with these native grapes that they have at their disposal and that they know very well. But with these blends that make this wine also international and that can be enjoyed by different consumers and in different occasions, and ready to drink and very enjoyable. And what about the pairings? What do you suggest? Any pairings, perhaps? I think we talked about some cured meats. Is that right? Of course, our cured meats, coppa, pancetta, which are local cured meats, but this white goes very well with fish, white meat, or risotto. So starting from the aperitif, well, the aperitif is its cup of tea, let's say, and then there can be other pairings. Perfect, very well. Let's now taste. So first, Blanc de Blanc or Oberto. So the one made with Ortrugo grapes. And the note is pretty floral, on the nose, floral and sweet. Let me now take a sip. So this is a Martinotti method. The perlage is very fine. The color is straw yellow, let's say medium intensity. And yes, on the palate, I find the balance that you mentioned. So an easy drinking wine, very adaptable, very enjoyable to drink on different occasions. So we also had a chance to taste this bollicina, this sparkling wine from the Emilia area. Let's also taste the Lambrusco, always sparkling Lambrusco. And immediately we perceive delicate red fruits. And also a slightly vegetal note, so herbaceous note. I would say notes of cherry. Yes, mainly, as you confirm. The nose is clean and straight, honest, like people from Emilia, you probably confirm, who are very outspoken and always very direct and straightforward. So this is 2 bars and a half. Yes, 2 bars and a half. Well, the previous spumante was 4. So one is a real spumante, the other is more a sparkling wine. This is a wine that is slightly, that must be served slightly cold. With these so the bubbles are not very evident because it's a sparkling wine. And on the palate we find again these fruity notes of cherry and of small red fruits. So we have started this challenge. So this Lambrusco that will certainly have a great future. Are there questions for Emanuela and Tommaso? I have questions from Chicago, but for Kobue. Here I am. So what are the varieties of grapes that are in the wine? Well, it's a Chardonnay 100%, 100% Chardonnay, an international variety. And I'd like to thank Confagricoltura and Stefania to say that it's beautiful to see this tasting with Sur-Lie, with a native variety, Verdicchio, a metodo classico of Chardonnay and Pinot Nero, 2 international varieties, and an Ortrugo and a Lambrusco that are very native, made in sparkling and Martinotti. So we have the incredible variety of the world of spumante wines. So in any case, it's 100% Chardonnay, then a Blanc de Blanc. And there is another question from our friends in Chicago, always wait for you. But so how come it costs only 15 euros and you have so many months on the yeast? Well, good answer, but we are a small-scale winery and the market is made and the price is decided by consumers and by distributors. But unfortunately, we are not in a DOC or DOCG district. Maybe you know or maybe not. So we are in an area where we do not have the appellation. We do not have the appellation for Metodo Classico. And so we have to try to sell it despite we don't have the DOCG. And if we sell it at a higher price, we would compete with the Franciacorta, with Trento DOC. We are in between, and they have the DOCG appellation, and therefore we are a bit squeezed in between the two. And so we have to offer a very good price to quality ratio. But also, if you allow me to say, this is nothing to envy to bollicina, another bollicina, another. Well, of course, it's not up to me to say. I, of course, agree with this, that because we sell all the bottles, we have many customers who buy our Metodo Classico, and certainly we have a great deal of satisfaction despite we don't have a DOC or DOCG. And in any case, the goal of Confagricoltura and these master classes is to make these wineries better known internationally, and also native varieties and areas and products that are maybe not popular or famous, but that deserve, in any case, being appreciated and known because they have something to offer, and top quality and also passion behind on the part of people who truly work hard and are fond of what they do. And I want to thank also the other winemakers, because what stands out in these classes is certainly the commitment, the passion, and the love of these winemakers for their territory, for their products, and for all what they do. And actually, if I can relate to what you said, also for our US friends, that's the beauty of Italy. Our enogastronomy, our food and wine is so rich, and we actually have areas that are very diverse. Maybe you have one municipality and you have some specialties. Maybe in the community that is close to it, you have other things. So it's a wide diversity that is certainly a symbol of excellence. So thank you, and thanks to Confagricoltura. Are there more questions? Also from the room here. I can give you the microphone if you like. Any questions from the States? No, I don't see anybody, any raised hands. So let's conclude. So I'd like to thank those who participated in Chicago and in Milan. I'd like to thank the winemakers, and I have already told you what you think, what I think about them. They are truly making products that deserve attention, because I know you, and I had a chance to talk to you over the last few days. So we talked on the phone quite often, and every time you told me something interesting, and I'm very happy we could share this with all these people, because besides the product, besides the glass, it's also nice to know these stories and these people who make us understand something more about wine, so we can get a better understanding the products that they make. So thank you very much. Oh, one more question. Good. One more question. Great. Question 4? Still from Chicago? Can you say something about... So the first question is, can you talk about the aging of these wines? I guess this is the question. So let's start from Verdicchio. Well, Verdicchio, all in all, is a variety that has a good aging potential. This version, Giulia, what? Well, for Verdicchio, she says 5 to 6 years. 5 to 6 years, the first product, Verdicchio, called Pestifero. Then, we cannot ask, I don't know, I don't think he's connected anymore with us. From Bricchiastigiani, no, the gentleman is no longer here. It's a Blanc de Noir Brut, so I would say around 6-8 years, according to me, since it's 100% Pinot Noir. Then Gilberto, what about your Padosé? I said it has a good aging potential. Can we say 10 years? Well, Gilberto doesn't know because it's a product that is evolving. So the Cobue, potentially 10 years, he's saying that he's drinking now 2007, which are in perfect shape. Then for Ortrugo and Lambrusco, a couple of years. These are fresh products that can be enjoyed mainly for primary notes. So it costs €7. This costs 7, so it's mainly for the fruity notes, the primaries, and the freshness, and so they are perfect to be drunk young. So a couple of years. I hope I answered to your question. Have I? Any other question? More questions? No questions. Okay. Great. Then thank you all. And it was nice to have this interactive tasting. So your wines stirred some curiosity both here and overseas. Thank you. Thank you.